EPA Administrator Michael Regan is back in East Palestine, Ohio today. Regan and Governor Mike DeWine toured the town, visited homes, and tested the drinking water. Regan says the EPA is not leaving East Palestine until the job is done and every resident feels safe. Now, it's been more than 2 weeks since that toxic train derailment. President Biden and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg have yet to visit the area, although Transportation Secretary Buttigieg does say he plans to do so at some point. But also former President Trump will be there tomorrow before the current president. Let's welcome in a couple residents of East Palestine, Ohio. Tammy and Rick Sy are joining us now. Thanks for being here. Also with us is the former chief of staff for the EPA, Mandy Gunascara. Great to have everyone here with us. Tammy and Rick, let's first get to you guys. We are seeing more and more government officials testing water in your town. Many of them say it's good, it's safe to drink. How do you guys feel about drinking the water there right now?
We won't drink our water. We're on a well, though. We're right outside the city. We were within the evacuation zone. I was down filming in our creek, Leslie Run, which runs right through town. Everything that swims or crawls is dead. And I was turning over rocks, and I filmed it and put it on YouTube. Chemicals are just leaching all through that creek. And that is, nobody can tell me it's not going into our land. And we're not only do we not feel comfortable, since my dad passed, he has a modest home that sat empty, and we're going to end up moving there for now, and we'll see what happens.
So many people have upended their lives as a result of this. I mean, we've seen video, Ohio's lieutenant governor and other local officials drinking the water from the tap there. Are they taking this too lightly? They're doing this to show solidarity with the town and prove the water is safe. This doesn't give you guys confidence?
I don't have any confidence in the well water.
So Muni water, I believe, is tested every day. And as far as I know, it's okay for them to drink. I personally still wouldn't drink the Muni water because we're just that way. I mean, what are they going to tell us 10 months from now that they missed? What chemical they missed in the water?
A lot of people don't get the opportunity to see how these water treatment facilities work. So you see the congressman there as well. And a much different situation for folks like yourself who are relying on well water. It doesn't have the same type of treatment process.
That's a large part of our community.
That is a large part. And it also, there's a little bit of that going into the surrounding area. So if that's leaching down into our watershed or the water table, that's going to affect thousands of people.
Well, you know, Cincinnati shut off their water intake 250 miles south. So what does that tell you?
Well, it tells, I think, a lot of people that others are taking precautions. Mandy, let's go to you on this. I mean, there are obviously differences between well water and municipal water treatment facilities. What do you think people should do at this point? They don't feel like they can trust their government officials, local and federal, and they're left to kind of make these decisions on their own, they feel like.
Yeah, which is inexcusable. I mean, the Biden administration has let down residents like Tammy and Rick from the start, and I'm so sorry that they have to go through this. And what they should have done from the start is show up. It's great that Michael Regan is out there right now, the current EPA administrator, but he should have been out there as soon as he heard about it. This administration tried to brush it under the rug, and they have such an important role in terms of the control of the disaster, coordinating the response, and communicating to the residents. And that's what is missing right here, is that communication to the residents in a way that they can actually trust. And they can have some faith that what they are being told is not only an honest answer, but something they can believe in to protect themselves, their family, and their surrounding community. So I do think it's right for people to continue to be skeptical, continue to ask questions. I will say, if you have well water, reach out to the local Ohio EPA and ask them to come test it, because as I understand it, there are people there that will do it, and it's better to be safe than sorry. And it's just unfortunate that residents are having to take matters into their own hands because this administration has been ignoring them from the start and just now starting to show up when President Trump decided to come out there tomorrow.
Rick and Tammy, have you guys contacted anyone from the state EPA? Has anyone offered to come out and test your water yet?
We went right away. I went to an independent EPA certified lab, and our water tested fine. You're only as good as your test, though, your last test. Who knows if a week later that stuff comes in? The municipal water is tested on a regular basis. How is a citizen supposed to do that on a weekly basis or or however often we should do that. And I want to say I was in that creek 45 minutes, and it's been over 2 weeks, and there's not a soul doing anything about that creek. They say they can't leave and clean up anything else until they clean up the main crash site. Meanwhile, this stuff is leaching all into our properties. Why can't they multitask? Why can't the government get out here and start digging up those creek beds and damming things off? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
And just to say something to Mandy on her point about not being updated, this is true. We need a community update that we can go to and hear things every day. Otherwise, we're searching and researching ourselves, and we have sites on Facebook, groups that are local, and that's how we're getting information and talking amongst ourselves. But this is ridiculous.
And I'm so sorry, John. If you see earlier interviews of us, we're more hopeful, and we just get angry and angry as nothing's being done. So
well, that's understandable because your lives are an open-ended question right now. Can you go back to your home? Do you feel safe? You can't get these tests you think you need. And I want to focus a little bit too. I mean, Pete Buttigieg says he's going to show up eventually. He's also placing blame on Norfolk Southern. Here is a statement of something that he said over the weekend. Quote, "You have previously indicated to me that you are committed to meeting your responsibilities to this community, but is it clear that the area residents are not satisfied with the information, presence, and support they are getting from Norfolk Southern in the aftermath of this?" You know, there's obviously some shared responsibility to go around. I'll go back to you, Rick and Tammy, first, and then we'll end up with you, Mandy. You know, he wants to blame President Trump for previous rules that were not really affecting this particular crash. He wants to blame Norfolk Southern. You don't see a lot of responsibility coming from Pete Buttigieg here.
No, that train was on fire 30 miles out of town. There are sensors that are along the way that can detect faulty fires and things like that.
Also, real quick, as a doctor, there's something called no-fault insurance. That's just so the victims don't have to wait for the insurance companies to fight it out. Then the insurance companies fight it out later after they take care of the victims' injuries. Somebody needs to get here now, and then those guys can fight it out about who's responsible.
Right. There are houses in town.
500 billion to another 100 billion to Ukraine, and
right.
I mean, it's $500 million to Ukraine. I'm sorry, we need some help here.
There are houses that need cleans, and they're just being sprayed with some cleaning spray that doesn't take out the toxic material, if there is toxic material in their homes. And that is not just East Palestine. That is the surrounding communities of Darlington, Negley, and Enon Valley.
And we need labor, shovels, dozers.
And Mandy, you know, there should be maybe a FEMA response helping provide that, or Norfolk Southern as well. Who do you see as more responsible for not providing these things that people like Rick and Tammy say are urgently needed in East Palestine right now?
Well, there's obviously a lack of leadership and coordination, and that's where the federal government should have been from day one. All we've seen from Pete Buttigieg and the president is blame and excuses, and that is not what the people of East Palestine and the surrounding areas, as Tammy and Rick have been laying out. This is inexcusable, and it's amazing that President Biden found the time to go all the way to Ukraine, but has failed to show up in his own backyard in East Palestine and take care of Americans that are hurting and need his help. They need to get there. They need to coordinate. They need to set up a better stream of communication so that people have information necessary to protect themselves, their family, and community. That is the work of the federal government, and we need them to show up and do their job.
Well, yeah, these things should not be mutually exclusive, helping out Ukraine and helping out the people of East Palestine, Ohio. Tammy and Rick Sy, thank you for being with us. Also, Mandy Gunascara,
Thank you very much.
Great to have you all with us today. Thank you for your time.